If you think the US has just one president, think again. It might sound like a wild conspiracy theory or a quirky trivia fact, but there's more to the story than meets the eye. The United States, known for its complex and sometimes confusing political system, has a fascinating historical tidbit that often goes unnoticed. Let's dive into this quirky piece of history. The concept of having two presidencies isn't about having two people with equal power running the country simultaneously. Instead, it's rooted in the unique structure of the US government and its constitution. Now, before you start scratching your head, let's clear things up. The United States officially has one president, the one you see on the news, giving speeches, signing bills into law, and representing the country on the global stage. This is the president we all know and recognize. The President of the United States is the head of state and government responsible for executing federal laws, commanding the armed forces, and conducting foreign policy. This role is enshrined in the Constitution and has been a cornerstone of American democracy since George Washington took office in 1789. But there's also something known as a President of the Senate. This title might not be as well known, but it plays a crucial role in the legislative branch of the government. The President of the Senate is none other than the Vice President of the United States. Here's the lowdown. The President of the Senate is a title given to the Vice President of the US. Bit confusing, innit? The Vice President's role as the President of the Senate is primarily ceremonial, but it comes with some significant responsibilities and powers. So, technically, the Vice President wears two hats: Vice President of the US and President of the Senate. This dual role means that the Vice President is involved in both the executive and legislative branches of the government, making them a unique figure in American politics. This dual role goes back to the Constitution. The framers of the Constitution designed this system to ensure a balance of power and to provide a tie-breaking vote in the Senate. The Vice President's role as the President of the Senate is outlined in Article 1, Section 3 of the Constitution. The Vice President presides over Senate sessions, but only gets to vote when there's a tie. Talk about multitasking. This tie-breaking power has been used several times throughout history to pass critical legislation and confirm important appointments. So next time someone says the US has two presidents, you can nod knowingly and say, "Aye, they kind of do." It's a fun fact that highlights the unique and sometimes quirky nature of the American political system. This little-known fact can be a great conversation starter at parties or a fun tidbit to share with friends. It's always interesting to learn about the intricacies of how our government works and the historical reasons behind these roles. Funny how things work, eh? The next time you watch a Senate session or hear about the Vice President's activities, you'll have a deeper understanding of their role and responsibilities. Keep this quirky fact in your back pocket for your next trivia night. You never know when it might come in handy and impress your friends with your knowledge of American history and government. And remember, learning something new doesn't have to be boring. The more we understand about our government and its history, the more we can appreciate the complexities and nuances that make it unique. Hit that like button if you were as surprised as I was. Cheers, and stay curious, because there's always more to learn about the fascinating world we live in.